All right, stage one. We are done. So very, very interesting to see. I was just watching an interview. Shout out to Scotty out of Baja Rally Camp, giving me the heads up on an interview. And well, I guess it came true. That was, he's on plan, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in just a few minutes. But stage one is done and over with. These guys had a great run. Ross Branch had a really good run. So good, in fact, that the Popo caught him speeding. And by that, I mean the ERTF unit, picking up a speeding penalty of 6 minutes, costing him the stage one win. But there's still a few more stages to go. So that was kind of the big news and kind of the bummer there for Ross Branch. Obviously, really good guy, really, really fast, has proven that time and again. But let's talk a little bit about the moto results. We're going to do moto, we're going to do cars overall, and then of course we got to do SSVs. You know, those UTV guys, the golf cart class, are definitely putting up some impressive numbers, and we got a few teams here based out of the US that we're going to be looking at. So, all right, let's jump right into it. Your results for stage number one. Now, again, these are provisional classifications. These guys have got some time still to enter any protests that they may have. The clerk of the course and the review board has to look them over, validate them, and then they will make their decision whether or not they are a valid point and that they will be awarding them time. So that could be things like medical, if they had to stop for somebody, if they had a speeding protest, if they had something along those lines, anything that they feel the need that they have to protest and to try and earn some time back. So we still got to get that out of the way before they make the results official. But for right now, we've got our provisional results. And at the top of the chart on the bikes, Edgar Canet pulling it off. So won the actual prologue and then backed it up with a stage one win after Ross Branch lost his win due to a 6-minute speeding penalty. So Edgar Canet finishing it up on the Red Bull KTM factory racing bike, 3 hours, 16 minutes, and 11 seconds for him. And then you've got Daniel Sanders from Australia on the Red Bull KTM factory racing bike. He's 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 13 seconds back or on the clock, and he is 1 minute and 2 seconds back. And then Ricky Brabeck in the number 3 spot, currently on that Monster Energy Honda, sitting 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 43 seconds for him. 1 minute, 32 seconds out of the lead and 30 seconds back from that number 2 spot of Daniel Sanders. So I saw the interview with Ricky Brabeck at the finish line of stage one and talking about wanting to keep kind of in the middle of the pack. Doesn't want to be on that Dakar swing, on that rubber band effect, going to the top, coming back down, going to the top, coming back down. You want to try and get an even keel performance out of there. So very interested to see how this shakes out. We've got a couple of more stages. I feel like this is now transitioned to, you have the marathon stage, you have the rest day, and then you have the second marathon stage, and then you have the finish line. I feel like now the Dakar maybe has just now been divided into multiple races because of that. Each day is a new day. Each day is a new race, a new stage. It's the same thing. It's a chance to go big. It's a chance to cost the entire rally every single day of this event, with, well, maybe the exception of the rest day, unless things get a little wild in Riyadh. But I'm really interested to see how this is going to shake loose, having these 2 marathons. So we're used to having one, and it was kind of one of those like marathon into the rest day. So it was a very different feel to it. So we'll see how this shakes loose. But anyway, okay, so that is your top 3 for the motos. Let's run down to number 15 right now on the bike. So going to have this also, if you guys haven't already seen it, we did it on the previous, we updated it super quick. There is a link in the description. That is kind of our command center that we've put together on the Chasing Waypoints website for you guys to be able to check out. So I'll be posting the stage map. I'll be posting provisional results, staged briefing, any of the information that I can find that I think is useful. I also don't want to make the page 6 pages long, but it'll give you guys some reading. It'll give you guys some stuff to take a look at. Again, that's on chasingwaypoints.com. You'll find the link in the description. That'll get you over to the website, and you'll get to see some of the videos. If you're watching us on YouTube, I've also got a playlist. If I find some cool Dakar videos from the organization, I'm going to drop those into the Dakar 2026 quotation or parentheses org. So you guys will see that playlist right below these videos if you guys want to check those out. Okay, let's get back to it. All right, finishing fourth, Tasha Sharena in the number 4 spot, of course, with the Monster Energy Honda HRC, 3 hours, 18 minutes flat. He is going to be 1 minute and 49 seconds out of the lead. Then Luciano Benavides in the number 5 spot, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, 3 hours, 19 minutes and 58 seconds for him. Going to be 1 minute, 58 seconds out of fourth, but a total 3 minutes and 47 seconds out of the lead. So that is the top 5. Ignacio Cornejo, we've got in the number 6 spot, Hero Motorsports Team Rally, 3 hours, 19 minutes and 59 seconds for him. 3 minutes and 48 seconds out of the lead with only a 1 second deficit to the number 5 spot of Luciano Benavides. Ross Branch in the number 7 spot, Hero Motorsports Team Rally, with a 6-minute penalty, finishes 3 hours, 20 minutes and 50 seconds. 4 minutes and 39 seconds out of the lead and 51 seconds out of that number 6 spot. Really, really, really interesting to see that. That means that he had a really close to a 2-minute lead on these guys. So that would have been a really, really nice bonus to get started with. But now being down in 6th, he's shown that obviously the Hero bike has legs on it and it can run. He has the talent to put the bike up front. Now he's going to be 6 minutes back. So we'll see starting a little bit further back. Maybe this is part of the game plan. I don't know. Somebody else had a little bit of a game plan too. A 6-minute speeding penalty is a little rough. And then I think if you get caught or there's something along those lines where you better have cash because they actually fine you. We'll see if we can find out the scoop on that one. But all right, jumping past that one, Adrian Van Beveren in the number 8 spot, Monster Energy Honda HRC, finishing 3 hours, 22 minutes and 3 seconds on the clock. He is going to be 5 minutes and 52 seconds out of the lead, 1 minute and 13 seconds back. Michael Daugherty in the number 9 spot, and on that BAS World KTM team, in Rally 2, he is the fastest Rally 2. Now, remember in the preview show, we said we got to keep an eye on this guy because this is going to be a GP racer for next year. And we've got him down for 3 hours, 25 minutes and 9 seconds, finishing 8 minutes and 58 seconds out of the lead, 3 minutes and 6 seconds back from Van Beveren in the number 8 spot. Daugherty in the number 9. And in the number 10 spot currently is Skylar Howes, Monster Energy Honda, 3 hours, 26 minutes and 6 seconds, finishing 9 minutes and 55 seconds out of the lead, 57 seconds behind Michael Daugherty. Interesting for Howes, a little bit of trouble in the dust from the video I saw this morning. His recap, a little bit of trouble in the dust, had a couple of offs, unfortunately ended up bending the bars along with dirt samples, unfortunately, but was able to collect the bike and make it happen, still put together a 10th place. 6 minutes is not a bad place to be. 9 minutes and 55 seconds. I don't know how much time he maybe spent trying to correct the bike, get things going, and then how much he had to slow down with the bike in its current condition. If it was a little bit tweaked, from my understanding, it bars bent and a little bit tweaked. Probably not the easiest thing to ride consistently fast, but still 10 minutes out of that lead, that would have put together probably at least a top 5 finish. If we take those 5 minutes back, that would have put him right in that 6-7 spot for him. So, and if you guys are into that whole 6-7 thing, I will never understand today's youth, but yeah. So 6th or 7th place. Anyway, with that being said, enough of that. All right, Martin Ventura in the number 11 spot, Monster Energy Honda Rally 2. He is going to be 3 hours, 26 minutes and 37 seconds on the clock, 10 minutes and 26 seconds, finishing 31 seconds behind Skylar Howes and 10:26 out of the lead. Stefan Svitko on the KTM Factory Rally Replica. And no team name there. There's that privateer in the Rally 2 side of things. He is 3 hours, 28 minutes and 37 seconds on the clock, finishing 12 minutes and 26 seconds out of the lead, 2 minutes behind Martin Ventura. And then Konrad Dabrowski in the number 13th spot, Deuced Rally Team, 3 hours, 28 minutes, 58 seconds, 12 minutes and 47 seconds out of the lead, 21 seconds back. Tobias Epster in the number 14 spot, finishing up on that Hero Motorsports Team Rally bike, Rally 2 category, 3 hours, 29 minutes and 37 seconds, 13 minutes and 26 seconds out of the lead, 39 seconds out of that number 12 spot. Tobias Epster. That was Tobias Epster. And then we've got Martin Micek in the 15th spot, on the Hoto Rally. 3 hours, 31 minutes, and 27 seconds. He is going to be 15 minutes, 16 seconds out of the lead, 1 minute and 15 seconds off the tail of Tobias Ebster in the number 14 spot. Bradley Cox finishing up in 16th. Method Devesi in the number 17 spot. Tony Milek in the 18th. Lorenzo Santolino, 19. Preston Campbell, Monster Energy Honda Rally 2 team. 3 hours, 34 minutes, 50 seconds. 18 minutes and 39 seconds out of the lead. Not a bad place to be. That's still at the beginning of the Dakar, 18 minutes. Now, historically, we've seen that the gaps are really, really close towards the end of the rally anyway. So 18 minutes is 100 miles at the moment, but there's still 1,000 miles or more than 1,000, several thousand kilometers left in this event to make that up. So it could go either way. It's still early on. Again, this is only stage one. So let's take a look a little bit further down because we're going to talk a little bit about Mason Klein. Let's see here. So there we got Preston Campbell in. And then we've got Niels Therick finishing up in 24th. Not bad considering yesterday he had to push the bike across the line with a small electrical gremlin there. We're going to scroll down a little bit further. Mason Klein finishing up in 40th right now with a 2-minute penalty. Likely maybe some speeding, something along those lines. 4 hours, 6 minutes, and 11 seconds. He is 50 minutes out of the lead at the moment. Now, talking about this, so I'd mentioned it in previous show. Dakar Daily is doing their show as well. Quinn Cody and Jesse Ziegler. So if you guys want to check that out, is the Dakar Daily right here on YouTube. Not sure where else they're being distributed, but at least for sure on here on YouTube. But on yesterday's prologue interview, they had an interview with Mason Klein where he was talking a little bit about the bike, talking about the Hoto Rally bike and the basic setup. So the bike, it looks like, and kind of from the pictures, what we've seen looks like its origins may be Austrian gas kind of thing. Again, the bike is very, very, very similar. Not sure to what percentage it is. It sounds like they've got some gas tanks. They've got a headlight. They've got a few things there that are in-house. To the extent we're not really sure about it. But nevertheless, if the platform is related to that, that is the bike that Mason has spent the most time on. So Quinn Cody did make that point in saying that yes, this bike is for sure a more familiar platform for Mason. And then Mason did talk about it in that interview, is that he does have some plans. He executed what he wanted, and he was not concerned so much today with putting a bike out front as more as just picking up another stage finish and getting some things sorted out. So it's a work in progress. I have a feeling that we're going to see a stage win out of Mason aboard this bike, again being a familiar platform. I have a feeling that we're going to see him up closer to the top. Tomorrow could be one of those days. We will see, starting 40th in line. He's going to have a lot of fast guys in front of him. It's going to take some of the pressure off navigation. He is a really good stage opener. He can navigate. He has proven that over several stages. And so opening for him is not necessarily the biggest deal as compared to some of the other riders, but that will allow him to make up some definite time. So we'll see. It's still, still thousands of kilometers left in this event. This is barely just stage one. So we'll see how much further they can get in these next couple of days before they get to that marathon stage. So I think that first really reality check is going to be getting to that marathon stage. I'm curious to know what the strategies are going to be. If in fact they've divided it up, mentally as a racer, okay, I'm racing to that marathon stage. We get back from the marathon stage. Now we're racing to that rest day. We'll see how that progresses. So looking forward to that one. Okay, let's jump over to the vehicles. Long day for these guys as well. And as we talked about, all they really got to do is follow the bike tracks around. It was the same route for them this time around. One of the things that the Dakar has done this year is they did change and they did add a couple of more days where there will be offshoots for the vehicles versus the bikes. They will not be on the same course. Again, adding some safety to the overall event. Again, this is one of those things that's has been pretty interesting, having a lot of vehicles. When you hear some of these Dakar stories and you hear the guys up front, they don't necessarily deal with a lot of vehicle traffic. However, the guys in the back of the pack are constantly dealing with vehicle traffic. One such story, if you go back a few years ago to when Mo Hart ran the Dakar as part of the American Rally team, It was definitely a challenge for him, and then competing in the lines that these, as they coined the term, garbage trucks were running in, creating these really, really deep ruts and whoops and stuff like that. And so finishing the Dakar, his Dakar rally, and there is a book now for it. I'll put the link in the description that talks about his story. The rally that he experienced and the rally that these guys at the back of the pack experience. You know, you have Willem Amina, who just recently went through this as well, finishing late into the day, late at night. The Dakar rally that they participated in is not the Dakar rally that Daniel Sanders won, is not the Dakar rally that Toby Price won. It's not the one that Ricky Brabeck won. It's a very, very different Dakar rally that these guys compete in. And it is, obviously, it's even more of a challenge once you have all of the vehicles. And I think that that's something that, if you look at something on our home turf here in the United States, and well, more particularly in Baja California, when you go to a score race, pre-running as soon as the course opens is very different than pre-running a couple of days before the event. A lot of the top trophy truck teams now pre-run in basically one of their race vehicles, and therefore destroy the course to a point where it's not the same. And on a motorcycle, while trucks have been growing in tire size, in horsepower, just recently having Robbie Gordon race the Baja 1000 on in a custom 16-cylinder, dual V8 engine vehicle. They're only gaining in horsepower. They're only gaining in tire size. The suspension technology, all-wheel drive is now the thing. Where in the Dakar, all-wheel drive has been basically a main, like, have to have. This is just something now starting to develop here in Baja racing, and it's only making these guys faster. With that being said, the bike technology really hasn't grown. Still limited on 450 cc's, 650 cc's. There is some room there, but you lose to the weight of that bike. They haven't come out with a lightweight version. You don't want to go race a 800 cc adventure bike because they're not capable. Although that Cove 800X rally is looking pretty close, that's still a very heavy bike in comparison to a modern 450, a CRF 450R, RX, or RL, the version that they're using in Baja. It's a very, very different game. So to go kind of reiterate is, you've got all of these bikes that lay down the lines for the track or for the vehicles. They don't necessarily tear up the track like a vehicle would. But as the vehicles gain in speed going through the classes, they're going to catch up with bikes that are still on the course. As a matter of fact, right now, as we're recording this, the official or the provisional results have not yet posted for the vehicles, because you still have vehicles out on the course. And so it's an interesting dynamic as you see these vehicles catch up with the bikes, interact with the bikes. Mason talking about running the signature blue light out of the Night Rider camp that they have to run in Baja for identifying a slower vehicle or identifying the bike. So there's things like that safety aspects that you can bring and you can apply to different events. Even doing a night adventure ride, I think that having that kind of stuff, especially if you're riding in a group, is especially important. You want to be seen by the rest of your team or the rest of in your group. So anyway, rambling on that one, let's get to the vehicle side of the house. Leading the way on stage number 1, DeMavis with Baumel in the X-Raid Mini. 3 hours, 7 minutes, and 49 seconds for them. And then you have Nasser Al-Attiyah and Lurkin in that number 2 spot. 3 hours, 8 minutes, 29 seconds. 40 seconds separating these two in the vehicle category. Now, these guys are running in T1 Plus. They're running these are the trophy truck equivalent in the Dakar. And then you have Prokop and Chitka out of the Czech Republic. They are on looks like they're in a Ford Orland Jeepcar team. So not sure if that's going to be one of those Raptor hybrid vehicles that they've created. It's a Raptor, but it's not a truck frame or truck bed kind of thing. So some interesting vehicles for sure. That is the top 3, with the top 3 only being separated by 1 minute and 27 seconds total. So very close race still. Obviously, we've got a lot of miles to go. Thijs Ekstrom and Bergqvist in the number 4 spot on the Ford Racing Ultimate class, and it's 3 hours, 9 minutes, and 27 seconds, picking up a 10-second penalty. Then from there goes call in the number 5 spot, Energylandia Rally Team. 3 hours, 9 minutes, and 27 seconds for them. Carlos Sainz, El Matador, in the number 6 spot in the Ford Racing Raptor. You got 3 hours, 9 minutes, and 43 seconds. It looks like 1 minute and 54 seconds out of the lead, so not far behind. Buttrell in the number 7 spot, Toyota Gazoo Racing, finishing up at 3 hours, 9 minutes, 52 seconds, finishing 2 minutes and 3 seconds out of the lead. Nanny Roma in the number 8 spot, again in the Ford Racing, 3:10:26 for him, 2 minutes and 37 seconds out. Mitch Guthrie and Kellen Walsh in the number 9 spot, Ford Racing, 3:10:39, 3 hours, 10 minutes, and 39 seconds for them, finishing 2 minutes and 50 seconds out of the lead. Sebastian Loeb, Dacia Sand Riders, 3 hours, 10 minutes, and 50 seconds for him, finishing 3 minutes and 10 seconds out of the lead. Then we move on down to the number 11 spot. We have Morez in that 11 spot. Dacia Sand Riders, 3:11:23 for him, 3 minutes and 34 seconds out of the top spot. In the number 12 spot, Krotov in that M Sport Rally Raid Team, 3 hours, 11 minutes, and 36 seconds for him, finishing 3:47 back. 13th, Varawa in the Toyota Gazoo Racing, 3 hours, 12 minutes, and 4 seconds for him, 4:15 back. And then Ferreira in the number 14 spot, Toyota Gazoo Racing, 3 hours, 12 minutes, and 5 seconds, 4:16 back. Christina Gutierrez in the number 15 spot, Dacia Sand Riders, 3 hours, 12 minutes, and 49 seconds, finishing 5 minutes back. Let's jump on down. We've got Toby Price in the number 16 spot, 3 hours, 13 minutes, and 6 seconds. And then Seth Quintero and Andrew Short in the number 18 spot, 3 hours, 15 minutes, and 7 seconds back. 2-minute speeding penalty. They are 7 minutes and 18 seconds out of the top spot. If we didn't have those 2 minutes, we would be looking at 15th on the chart. So early on, still a lot of time, still a lot of stuff to go on. So I'm expecting to see some stuff. And Seth Quintero, obviously he has a shoe. Andrew Short, no stranger to the Dakar, starting in 17th for tomorrow. I got a feeling that's going to be a really good start position for these guys. And I would look to maybe see some time made up. Interesting on this and thinking about it is we were talking earlier about the bikes laying tracks for the vehicles. There has to be a dynamic there where if you have the vehicles, if the bikes were not there, the opening vehicle would have to lay down and discover the route as they go and race it, therefore slowing the pace down and meaning that the guys behind them, just like exactly what happens in the bikes. However, the bikes now laid the course, so the first vehicle isn't discovering the route, they're just following, they have tracks to follow. So I have a feeling that makes the vehicle category even more competitive. So maybe it's not going to be so easy for him to pick up that time because even the lead vehicle already has tracks in front of them. So where we were going to see that change is going to be when they get to the dates or the stages where they're running 2 separate courses, where the vehicles have to slow down a little bit to open the stage. There's where we will probably see some strategy going on there. We will probably see I'm just going to call it sandbagging, but we'll probably see some sandbagging or strategy to be able to get a better start position on those days to allow some of the vehicles to go ahead, open the stage, and then they can lose some time. Now, the Dakar Rally, I'm not sure if they're going to be doing the bonus time on the vehicles as well, but that could be a viable option. That could help soften the blow a little bit, but we'll see. I mean, it's still up in the air, and obviously, the vehicle category is super competitive. It is no less competitive than the motorcycles, and probably even more so competitive just because of that fact that, hey, if you've got bikes laying down route, that opening vehicle doesn't have to navigate as hard. The navigation is going to be a little bit easier. So we'll see how that shakes loose. Let's jump over to the SSV side of the house. In the SSV category, Xavier de Saultre in that Polaris Razor RZR Factory Racing, finishing up 3 hours, 38 minutes, and 45 seconds for him. And then you have Pinto in the number 2 spot, Old Friends Rally Team. So I'm not sure what they are in. It could be Can-Am, could be a Razor. Seems like they're pretty evenly split for the year. He is finishing up 3 hours, 42 minutes, and 19 seconds, 3 minutes and 34 seconds back. Top three in the number 3 spot, Brock Hager and Max Eddy, finishing up in that Loeb Frey Media Motorsports, so Razor Factory Racing. They are 3 hours, 42 minutes, and 33 seconds on the clock, finishing 3 minutes and 48 seconds behind Xavier Disseltre. So very, very tight race again, and I expect to see a lot more of this going on. Let's take a look at the top 15 on this one. You've got Chaleco Lopez out of Chile in the number 4 spot. He is on the Can-Am Factory Team, Latin America, 3 hours, 42 minutes, and 47 seconds, finishing 4 minutes and 2 seconds back. And you have Guerrero on the Loeb Frey Media. He is teammates with Brock and Xavier. Razor Factory Racing, 3 hours, 43 minutes, and 18 seconds, finishing 4 minutes and 33 seconds back in the number 5 spot. In the number 6 spot, Kyle Cheney and Jacob Argubright, Can-Am Factory Team, 3 hours, 46 minutes, 47 seconds for them, finishing 8 minutes and 2 seconds out of the lead. In the number 7 spot, Gonzalo Firoli on the Can-Am Factory Team, Latin America, 3 hours, 47 minutes, 5 seconds, finishing 8:20 back, picking up a 10-second penalty there. And then you've got Miller and Gray in the number 8 spot, Can-Am Factory Team. You're 3 hours, 47 minutes, and 41 seconds, finishing 8:56 back. Anjoar in the number 9 team, or on the number 9 spot, Can-Am Factory Team, Latin America, 3 hours, 50 minutes, and 17 seconds, finishing 11:32 back. And then Lepere in the number 10 spot on the BTR team, 3 hours, 53 minutes, and 41 seconds. And it's 14:56 back. Then you have Vasaid in the number 11 spot. He is also on that Sebastian Loeb team, the Loeb Frey Media Motorsport, Razor Factory Racing, 3 hours, 55 minutes, and 7 seconds, finishing 6:22 back. Then it is in the number 12 spot, Montero in the Can-Am Factory Team, 3 hours, 56 minutes, and 32 seconds back, 17:47. Christensen in the number 13 spot, Loeb Frey Media Motorsports. So Sebastian Loeb and the Loeb Frey Media team, they have a presence. I think they're rivaling maybe the South Racing guys. I don't know. Or maybe they are South Racing now. Who knows? All right. Razor Factory Racing, 3 hours, 58 minutes, and 1 second, finishing 19 minutes and 16 seconds back. Holmvold out of France in the number 14 spot. We are at 3 hours, 59 minutes, and 16 seconds, finishing 20:31 back, picking up 2 minutes and 10 seconds in penalties there. And then you have Olgwis out of Poland, South Racing Can-Am. There we are. 3 hours, 59 minutes, and 46 seconds back, 21 minutes and 1 second out of the lead. So 3:59.46 stage time for them. So lots of room, still a lot of mileage to go. And let's take a look. And then you have Jansky and Murphy in the number 31 spot, South Racing Can-Am, finishing 4 hours, 52 minutes, and 8 seconds. That is going to be 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 23 seconds out of the lead. And then let's take a look further down the list. That is a wrap for our competitors there. So very interesting. Another very competitive class. These vehicles are pretty much all lined up the same. You know, they have certain things that they can do. The FIA can do basically Formula One level scrutineering on this. If they feel like somebody's doing something they're not supposed to be, they will order the car into quarantine and have it taken apart in front of them, in front of one of the officials. And they are very, very strict with these guys. It happened last year. There was somebody running a carbon fiber type clutch setup that was not approved for racing. It was not a valid component at that time. And the organization pretty much said, thank you for playing. Have a safe trip home. Sorry, I'm tripping up on words here. The coffee's wearing off here. Okay. So we'll see. We got a lot to go for this rally. Obviously, we've said that. That's the growing theme. We've still got a long time, a lot of kilometers on the clock for these guys to figure it out, for the strategy to start shaking loose, for the event to settle in, for everybody getting into it. A little bit different of a feel this time around. The GP category and the bikes, I feel like everybody there is, obviously it's game face. That is a game face class. It's not a survive class. It's you're racing to win. And so there's definitely going to be some change ups. I can only imagine what this is going to look like coming into the rest day. And who knows, we will probably have another Dakar that finishes the top three guys that are going to be under 5 minutes of each other. I feel like that's going to be that's going to be the norm for a few years now. We will see. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. And let's see that. So with that being said, okay, that's the provisional results for stage number 1 at the 2026 Dakar Rally. Now let's take a look at what these guys are going to be doing for stage number 2 on this edition here. Get the map open. So again, this stuff will be posted. If you haven't already jumped over to the web page, you're going to want to do so. The link is in the description. That is going to get you into what I've put together. Is basically like a little command center on the Chasing Waypoints website, where you'll be able to see the map for the stage, which is what we're talking about now. It's on screen as well. If you're on the video side of it, if you're on the audio side of the house and you're listening to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, any of the other podcast audio platforms, take a look at the description. You'll see the link there. You can click on that. It'll open another web page, and you can listen along as we do this. All right, what do we got going on tomorrow? Sunrise 7:10 a.m. Sunset at 17:50. It is stage number 2 of the 2026 Dakar. This time around, they are traveling. It is not a loop stage. They are leaving Yanbu and on their way to Alula. And first at bat on this, let's take a look. First bike will be leaving the bivouac at 5:40 in the morning and is expected to take the start of the stage at 7:25 a.m. And then on the vehicle side of the house, first vehicle will be leaving the bivouac at 8:10 a.m. and first vehicle is expected to take the green flag for the stage at 9:55. So let's take a look. Tomorrow's stage in transit to Alula, they have a road section. First road section up is going to be 104 kilometers, so roughly about 65 miles that they have to do before they get to their massive 400 stage. So 400 kilometers of racing. So 4 times 6, 24. So about 250 miles or so of racing that these guys are going to be doing. So plenty of time to figure it out. 250 miles of racing on the clock is a long way to go. They will be finishing at the bivouac, which is nice. No liaison after this. So for a total of 504 kilometers of that, they do have a service route. The service route is for the people commuting from the bivouac to the next bivouac is going to be 457 kilometers. So they got a way to go there. All right, let's take a look here. It looks like they have a service area once again for the FIA vehicles. That is going to be at kilometer 142. All right, let's take a look here. They do have a little bit of an alternate route as well. Okay, let's see. Starting on the stage, checkpoint 1 going to be at kilometer 101. Then they have the transfer for the pit stop is going to be at kilometer 142. And then after that, the Dakar Classic finishes up right at kilometer 155. So again, those are the limited vehicles. That is the old school, the vehicles that we grew up watching the Dakar Rally compete in. That's where they will draw the line. And then from there, they proceed to a neutralization. So bikes, cars, and the helos at kilometer 199 on the course is where they will be neutralized for fueling. Then you have another, checkpoint 2 at kilometer 239. And then you have another Dakar Classic at 245. Then as we progress towards the end, there is going to be a split. So at kilometer 306 to kilometer 318, bikes and the cars have a different route that they will be taking. So interesting to see there. In that short 12-kilometer section, is that going to be enough to get some vehicles lost? Is that going to be enough to get, a little over about 8 miles or so that these guys are going to have to navigate on their own? We'll see. Could this shake up the lead? If the co-driver falls asleep, the navigator falls asleep, and they launch down the FIM course rather than the FIA course. So it's the automobile, FIA, moto, FIM. Could it be an issue? So then you have the Mission 1000 cutoff is going to be at the kilometer 378 for them. And then 385 is going to be check 3. And then the last of it at kilometer 400 is the finish line. So that is tomorrow's stage by the numbers. Let's take a look at the makeup of that. 0% asphalt is going to be 49% dirt track, 23% sand, and 28% stoned. So basically, we're racing Baja tomorrow. You've got dirt track, you've got some sand, and then you've got some stoned. So sounds like we're probably doing a San Felipe 250-ish, somewhere in that, maybe running down the coast, cutting over, doing that kind of thing. So again, I have a feeling that with this stage layout, just like yesterday's stage layout, it will probably favor the guys that are really good in the off-road. Obviously, not a lot of dunes. They're predicting not a lot of dunes for this year's event. Doesn't look like they're traveling all the way over to the empty quarter. So we'll see how this shakes down. I have a feeling that we're going to see some really fast stage times tomorrow. Fast stages, 160 kilometer per hour speed limit. That could be a recipe for disaster in rougher sections that you question whether or not you can hold it wide open. It's going to be interesting, but we'll see how it shakes loose for tomorrow. Again, there's a lot of racing to do. Tomorrow's just one more stage of it. Let's take a look at the fuel mileage before we cut out. 104 kilometers from the bivouac to the depart selective section, where they will have their first chance to grab fuel. Then they're going to do 199 kilometers to get to the neutralization, roughly 120 or so miles. That'll get them to the first fuel there on stage fueling. And then they got to make it all the way to the bivouac or the end of the stage, which is going to be 201 kilometers. So looking at another, it's 62 miles per. So you're looking at about another 120 miles roughly that these guys are going to have to compete. So tomorrow's fuel mileage isn't bad for these guys. I think they will be able to, I don't see anything being an issue as far as fuel mileage goes, unless you get lost, which then of course, well, everything goes out the window on that one. So, all right, that is a wrap for this morning's show. That is your stage 1 provisional results. That is the stage 2 preview. We'll be talking a little bit later today. I will upload some more stuff there as we get more information, and maybe once the results, the official results for the stage have posted, if there's any kind of mix-ups or anything like that going after all of the dust settles with the protests and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Looking forward to doing more of these. Don't forget, the link is in the description for the Command Central if you guys want to go into that on the Chasing Waypoints website. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all of that fun stuff. And I don't know, what's the prediction? Anybody got some early predictions on who's going to win this thing? Drop the comments below. All right, we'll see you guys.